The Comedy Grinder. Streaming live worldwide from the First Church of Cannabis. Tonight, Mike Politis, Jonathan Pfendler, Randy Rollins, and your MC, Larry George.
Today I went to McDonald's. I'm standing there in line. I want a Big Mac. They got nutritional value sheets laying on the table. So I reach over, I grab one to read while I'm waiting. And I looked up the nutritional value of a Big Mac. And right there it says, none that we fucking know of. I had 3. What the hell? What the hell? Even when you go to a drugstore to buy something, it's confusing. Walgreens, around a year or so ago, went to the drugstore just to get something for a minor medical problem, nothing serious. They had a display, a 3-shelf, 8-foot long, and all it had on it was hundreds of jars of, how can I say it? Cream that would help a man remain in the mood. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, that is a freaking waste of money. What man is going to walk up to the 18-year-old cashier and set that shit down? The only way a man will get a jar of that home is if he shoplifted. So when I got home with my jar, I'm reading the instruction label. And I swear to God, it says this. Rub this cream on your male sexual organ 15 minutes prior to the act. If I rub something on my male sexual organ for 15 minutes prior to the act, I don't need the act anymore.
All right. I see that some of you are laughing. Some of you are looking at me like you have some questions. So I'll go ahead and try to answer those for you now. Yes, this is actually happening right now. And then, yes, I did get here all by myself. And then, I don't think so. We are looking into it. If I ever had a child, I would name him I, and not E-Y-E, but the letter I, because I feel that my firstborn should have the opportunity to speak in the first and third person simultaneously. And then I'd also like to create bad grammar for anyone who refers to him. For instance, I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I is doing. Or, I'm not playing checkers, I cheats at checkers. Or, there's no I in team, except for I is on our team. And then, of course, there's the ever-popular, I is at this air show. Which isn't funny because it's a callback to a joke that I'm not going to do.
About a year or two ago, I was in Alabama. I was working at a comedy club that was in a mall. And you had to get in the left-hand lane in order to make the turn in the mall. And at the end of the turn lane was a guy holding a sign. And of course, my luck, I get stopped by the light. Oh my God, how many people react like I did? Hands at 10 and 2, stare straight ahead. Because if you don't make eye contact, it doesn't count. And then sooner or later, you can't help but try to sneak a glance. So it's like, That guy was aggressive. He walked over, he knocked on my window. So I rolled the window down. I said, can I help you? He said, yeah, man, you have any money? And I read a sign. It said, please help me feed my 11 hungry children. Wow. Yeah, I could pay for a vasectomy, I guess. Jesus, Goober, you're overworking that thing. Next night, I get to the same turn lane, same guy's there, only now the sign says, please help me feed my 3 hungry children. I went, that is so cool. Good old-fashioned American ingenuity right here in the heart of the South. He's eating the kids.
Are you all familiar with Robert Frost's The Road Less Traveled?
Yep.
Yes. For those of you who aren't, it reads, 2 roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. But sometimes I think it's all about the direction you're going or where you're coming from. Let's say that, for instance, he was coming from the exact opposite direction, then it may have sounded something like this. 2 roads merged in the wood, and so I kept walking. Down the only path available to me. And I don't know, everyone else was on the same path. It was almost as if our future had already been planned out for us. And there were never any crossroads to cross. I never had to make any decisions. Got a little depressed, a little despondent even. And I don't know. I guess that's made all the indifference. And I'm thinking about becoming an accountant. I wonder if he submitted that originally to a publisher, and they were like, we're not printing this. What are you, being sarcastic? And then he was like, fine then, whatever. I'll just go home. And then that's when he figured it out.
Sold Amway for a while. Oh my God, I sold Amway. Door to door. 3rd shift. Hey, I figured it was the only way I could ever get even with them damn Jehovah's Witnesses. What is wrong with those people? Saturdays. They come knocking on your door early. What? 4:30? I drink and I'm an entertainer. I still got ice in my glass at 7 o'clock. What the hell? You're laying in bed after a tough night, you're just all sprawled out, they come knocking on the door, 4:30 in the morning. God, you roll out of bed, you grab your robe, you got it half on, half off, you're waddling to the door because you're hungover as hell. You rip open the door ready to kill whoever's ever on the other side, and who is it? Some sweet little old lady. And she's there to sell you shit at 4:30 in the morning. Damn. She's not unlike your own sainted mother. And she wants to sell you those magazines. Watchtower and The Awake. Yeah. Yeah, well, I usually say, lady, if I had a Watchtower, I wouldn't be awake right now. I'm not a good shot, but I could have picked your slow ass off at the sidewalk, okay?
Just one night, this gal and I, we were looking up at the stars, waiting for a shooting star, looking for one. And apparently I'd been doing it wrong every time prior. I was just staring at one and waiting for it to move. And that explains why my vision is so bad now, because I was doing it during the daytime. The sun is a star. Anyway, we were, her and I, we were looking up at the stars, and at one point she's like, "Oh, John, there's one. You should make a wish." And I thought about it for a second, and I was like, in a galaxy far away, there's potentially a planet that just lost its sun, and billions of people just froze to death. but I hope your wish comes true. Then she was like, John, shooting stars aren't actually stars, they're meteors, you idiot. And I was like, nope, not that one. I wished that one was a star.
I got a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old at home. And they're always trying to get each other in trouble, so one's trying to always tattle on the other. So the 5-year-old tattles on the 6-year-old. He came up to me the other day and he goes, Daddy, I just want to tell you something. I just want to tell you that Todd got under your workbench and he got your light bulbs and a baseball bat and he was playing baseball with your light bulbs. I said, what? Are you kidding? It's okay, Daddy, because he didn't get a hit. Okay. Sweet, thanks, I feel so much better. And then the 6-year-old said he wants to try stand-up comedy, which I'm thrilled about, right? So I said, sure. I tried to teach him about setup and a punchline. And he goes, can you give me an example? I said, sure. So I told him the joke about my dad having the talk with me. Michael, you play with fire, you get burned. That's the setup. Dad, I can't even find any matches. That's the punchline, right? So he goes, cool. Can I try it? I'm like, sure. So he goes, Daddy, I found some matches. I'm like, yes, Todd, that's a great setup. Okay, now what's your punchline? He goes, and I'm gonna burn the house down.
A lot of people, when they look at me, they're like, man, John, you're like way low energy. And my reply is always, well, there's light bulbs out there that are only 60 watt, and then there are 13, watt light bulbs out there too, and they do just the same amount of work as the 60 watt ones. Perhaps I'm just energy efficient. That's why I'll forget to breathe for 15 seconds, like every 5 minutes. Then I only pee like once a day. But anyway, do you all know what the difference between George Clinton and Bill Clinton is? No? It's Clinton. No, wait, I'm sorry. What do George Clinton and Bill Clinton have in common?
Hey, let me ask you a question. I ask this everywhere I go, and I have for probably 20 years. What is the maximum number of handicap spaces a Walmart has to have? Boy, are you off. Went over to the Beach Grove Walmart on the way here, okay? Otherwise known as the Women's World Wrestling Association. 48 handicap parking spaces. Now, when's the last time you saw 48 handicapped people at Walmart that didn't work there? I'm so far out in the parking lot, I'm literally standing next to my car waiting on the tram. I'm in Scooby-Doo 3. Okay. Oh, good. 2 people been to Kings Island. Thanks for that tip, Jerry.
Also, you wouldn't know this by looking at me, but I am frustrated with astronauts. Because every time I see one on television, they're like, yes, when you're standing on the moon and you're looking back at Earth, it's truly a unique, one-of-a-kind experience. There's absolutely nothing else in this universe like it. Because my thought has always been, if you're standing on the Mexico-Texas border in the desert at night and you're looking up at the moon, It's kind of like it. I mean, it is the same distance. And like, I wouldn't even have to go through the ozone layer or go to Purdue for 8 years. And then if there ever actually was a problem, Houston's only like 5 hours away.
And what is it about you women? I'll tell you what, men will never give you our wallets. You'll hand over that purse for any reason. You pack it, you carry it. Guys, you want to know how to slow that down? Next time she hands you her purse, open it. Ooh, they don't like that. One time she's in Penny's, I'm not in Sears. I'm not allowed to go in Sears. And I'm at the other end of the mall where Sears is, and I'm sitting on the bench having a nice conversation with probably a couple of you guys that are also sitting on the bench. And I reach down and open my wife's purse. She's at the other end of the mall in Penny's. 4 seconds, boom, what are you doing? I'm just seeing what you got in there. What the hell is this flashlight? When you turn it on, it vibrates. I don't get that.
Well, I've done all these jokes for you this evening. This last one's not going to be funny because there's no punchline. I'm going to tell it anyway. So I was at this house party my buddy was throwing, and I was in his kitchen talking to him. There were a bunch of people there. In front of us was a table full of drinks, and then there was the keg, which is why I was currently there. Anyway, we're talking, and a guy comes up behind me. He's like, "Hey, man, are you in line? My girlfriend, she wants some punch." And I said, "No." He's like, "There's no punchline." I like how it ends on a oh. It makes me feel like I've done my job here. All right.
It's hard to lose weight. Would you guys not agree that that's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do? I know it is for me. Man, when I go on a diet, the first 3 days, I am gung-ho as hell. No thanks. Watching what I eat. Cheesecake. No thanks, I'm on a diet. Day 4. I'm out looking for skinny fuckers to slap the shit out of. And it's hard to lose weight. I've tried everything. Tried every fad diet there was. Actually, I'm on one now. Oh, what a winner this fucker is. You know, it's hard-boiled eggs and sauerkraut. Trust me. If you see me coming out of the bathroom, don't follow me in unless you got a gas mask and a canary.
I had a friend call me one time, and she was like, "John, where do you get your prescriptions filled?" And I said, I go to Roger. And she was like, "What?" And I said, I go to Roger. She said, "You go to a person to get your prescription drugs?" And I said, "What?" And then she was like, "Whatever, John, I go to the Kroger on County Line in Emerson." And I was like, "Well, wait a minute, that's where I go." Oh, wait, you mean the K isn't silent? It's like, next you're going to tell me your name's not Ristina.
I try to book the cheapest possible flights. May have to rethink my decision. Here at the airport in Indianapolis, I'm sitting on the plane, we're waiting to take off, and I've got my music playing in my earbuds. The flight attendant walks up and she goes, "You need to take those earbuds out of your ear." I'm like, "You don't want me to do that. I'm a terrible flyer. This keeps me calm." And she's like, "Well, you'll have to take them out, sir." I'm like, "Why do I have to take them out?" And she goes, "If there's an emergency, you won't hear the announcement." I'm like, lady, how loud do you think I can turn this music up where I won't notice the goddamn pilot go whizzing by me strapped to a burning seat?
I have Crohn's disease. I'll go ahead and talk about that for a minute. It's a shitty disease. Pun intended. Not as shitty as diverticulitis. Hey, medical joke. When I was 17, they cut out part of my intestines. And I was like, man, it took me until 40 years old to realize all these years I've been walking around with my very own semicolon. Right? I do that one for the doctors. They tell each other. That's funny. I like them.
I found an effective way to let someone know that they talk too much is to buy them a podium. Put with it a note that reads, "This is to accommodate for all that talking that you do. Are you even aware that you don't have to be arrested in order to have the right to remain silent? It's a right you have at any time." I mean, some of you are exercising that currently.
Tired of being judged exclusively for the throat tattoo. You know, most people don't bother to read it. It says trust Jesus. Now, don't think too highly of me. That was a prison decision. So, you know, and you learn interesting things in prison. Like, you know, it's only gay if you push back. And when they find out you have false teeth, everybody wants to be your best friend.
I have it in my will that at my funeral, my family is to put me in a life preserver. You know, for the irony.
You know, I can't stay long tonight. I gotta get home and watch my favorite TV show, Cops. Any Cops fan? Well, look where we're at. I'm thinking about it. You know, I really have to give Jerry a compliment. You know, he asked me if I'd do this for him, and I said, absolutely, we're old friends, I'm glad to do it. You know, he goes, well, I can't pay you. I get here, now I understand why. He spent all the budget on the decor.